The Last Supper is one of the most recognizable events in history, but if you look closely at the biblical record, you'll find a strange, quiet moment that disrupts the entire evening. Jesus makes a sudden vow to his disciples, telling them he will not take another sip from the cup. He then stops the ritual and walks away, leaving the supper unfinished. In the first century, this was an unthinkable act. The Passover was a highly regulated religious ceremony, and halting it so abruptly was a massive breach of tradition. To understand why he stopped the meal early, we have to look at the specific ritual requirements he was following. The Last Supper was a traditional Passover Seder, a meal where every element followed a strict centuries-old order. The purpose of this meal was to serve as a strict memorial of the Exodus. It was a time to remember when God physically liberated the Israelites from the environment of Egyptian slavery. This Seder is driven by 4 specific cups of wine. They are based on 4 promises God made to Moses in the book of Exodus: sanctification, deliverance, redemption, and acceptance. The cups track a sequence of salvation, beginning with God separating a people, moving through their rescue, and concluding with final acceptance. Jesus was aligning each stage of this ancient deliverance story with his own life and mission. During the Seder, the bread must be unleavened. The matzah used is traditionally baked with scorched stripes and small holes pierced through the dough. A unity pouch holds 3 bread sheets, picturing the Trinity. The leader pulls out the middle sheet, snapping it in 2. One half is wrapped in linen and hidden away. Later, children find it, and a ransom is paid. When Jesus broke the bread and said, "This is my body," he was holding this specific piece of matzah, the one that had been broken, buried in linen, and bought back with a price. After the bread is shared and the supper is over, the leader pours the 3rd cup. This is the cup of redemption. It represents the physical price required to buy a slave's freedom from a marketplace. This concept is captured in the Greek word apolutrosis. It defines freedom as something that must be purchased, specifically through a ransom of blood. Jesus took this cup and changed its meaning forever. He told his disciples that the wine was now the new covenant in his own blood. Communion transforms the memorial of a physical exodus into a declaration of a spiritual one, deliverance from the power of sin and death. This brings us back to that untouched cup. The 4th cup, the cup of praise and acceptance, remained full on the table. Jesus refused to drink it because his work of redemption wasn't finished in that room. Instead, he sang the Hallel Psalms, hymns that predicted his own rejection and agony, and walked out into the olive groves of Gethsemane. He went to the cross to physically pay the ransom price that the cup of redemption demanded. By leaving that final cup on the table, he left the Passover unfinished, waiting for a future completion. This delay mirrors an ancient Hebrew wedding custom. A groom would seal a marriage covenant with a cup of wine and then immediately depart. He would vow not to drink wine again until he had built a home for his bride and could return to take her to his Father's house. Jesus used those same terms at the table, telling his disciples he was going to prepare a place for them and would return to receive them. The 4th cup is being held for a final gathering, the marriage supper of the Lamb. Participating in communion is more than an act of memory. It is a way of holding a reservation for a reunion that has been promised since that unfinished supper.